For me, it's always the first. I always love everything that's happened for the first time. So, first day on the job, first day we play a game, first day we win a game, first day we make the playoffs, first time we advance in the playoffs. Those are always moments that I will always remember that give me chills. Also, the ones that really tug at the heartstrings are people that have a story. So I talked about a lot of people, this first time they've ever came to a game, maybe the only time. Well, what can we do to make sure that that experience is incredible?
Hey there, business enthusiasts. Welcome to the Chills Podcast, brought to you by All Weather Roof. Because just like a sturdy roof, our conversations are built to last. I'm your host, Brent Loberg, and we're about to dive into the world of business, family, and the moments that give us those exhilarating chills. Ever wonder what keeps successful people inspired? Well, get ready to find out as we chat with some fantastic all-weather customers, partners, vendors, and friends. We'll explore their triumphs, challenges, and maybe even some unexpected secrets. After all, business is not just about numbers. It's about the people behind them. So grab your metaphorical popcorn and join us on this journey. Get ready to be inspired, maybe even get a few chills of your own. This is the Chills Podcast. Let the goosebumps begin. Well, introduce yourself.
So I'm Jeff Munneke with the Minnesota Timberwolves, Minnesota Lynx.
Sure.
I've just crossed over 37 years with the franchises.
Wow.
So I've been there since day one. Day one for the franchise was June 20, 1988.
Okay.
And I was one of 35 staff members that were there on the very first day.
Wow.
Yeah, the only one left. So I think
Really?
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope it's a good thing anyway. And so I've had many different roles, basically on the sales and service side for the most part.
Okay.
I should step back too. Coming out of college, I worked for the Minnesota Strikers for 1 year, the old indoor soccer team that played at Met Center, where Mall of America sits today.
Okay.
So that's how I cut my teeth in the sports industry. Then 1 year later, I was hired by the Timberwolves. In fact, I was hired before we were called the Timberwolves.
Okay. What was the name, or was it not developed yet?
It was not developed yet.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we were part of the early process, and so we had a lot of different initiatives, 35 total staff members, 9 sales reps. I was one of the 9 sales reps, so we did everything. We sold corporate sales, corporate sponsorships, publications, season tickets, suites, all those things. Played the first year in the Metrodome before moving over to Target Center.
Okay. And you're still doing the same thing?
Yeah, so I'm now our vice president of fan experience. So it's kind of transitioned out of the sales side of things. And I started an area called fan relations here probably 12 years ago, which is now our membership platform today. And then 8 years ago, I started fan experience. So fan experience is anything that's forward facing that the fans see. So coming in the parking ramp, coming into the building, how you're greeted at the building, scanning your ticket, coming through and just going into your seat location. We're involved in the concessions. We're involved in everything that the fan will see, including things that happen on the scoreboard, things that happen during the game. We're there to train up the staff and make sure people have a great experience every single night they come through our doors.
Okay. So going back to when you started, you said 1988?
June 20, 1988 is our first day, and that was my first day. First day in existence, first day for me too. So as I mentioned, just crossed over 37 years here just a couple months ago.
How did that fall into your lap when you started?
Well, so it's a long story, but I'll try to give you the Reader's Digest version. It's all about relationships, and I'll hammer that home till the cows come home, because I was very, very lucky. The college basketball coach that I played for, a gentleman that helped recruit me to play for the college coach I played for, ended up getting named general manager of the Minnesota Strikers. So that was my foray into the sports industry. He had previously ran the Grain Exchange in downtown Minneapolis. Like every kid when you're young, you got your posters on your wall of all your favorite players. I was like every kid. I wanted to be a pro basketball player. And so I had my posters of Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and Michael Jordan all adorned on my walls. And I had a chance to play college basketball. But kind of my claim to fame was my junior year. Yes, my junior year, we were really good. We were ranked in the top 5 in the country, as were a team from Southeast Oklahoma State, and we faced them in the Division II national tournament. They had a gentleman by the name of Dennis Rodman on their team.
No way.
Dennis Rodman, I held him at 38 points, 26 rebounds.
Oh, wow.
And so I quickly realized that perhaps I better come up with a plan B. And playing pro basketball is probably not in the cards. So working in sports is the next best thing. So because of a relationship I had built with this gentleman to help recruit me, he became a mentor of sorts for me, and just a really business confidant, a relationship confidant of sorts. And he is always saying, "Come work for me at the Grain Exchange." And my desire was always to get into the sports industry. That was my dream. So when those things weren't coming to fruition, he said, look, he says, you don't have anything yet. He says, really consider coming to work for me. So wasn't really what I was passionate about, but as every college kid, you got to start getting a job. You got to start, making some wages. And so I said, okay, I'm curious to hear more. So he called me and he said, can you hang tight for a couple of weeks? I have something cooking. And he says, I'd like to tell you about it if it does happen. So a couple weeks later, this is long before computers and cell phones, I open up the Star Tribune newspaper, and there it is, headline, Dennis Severson named general manager of the Minnesota Strikers. So I was like, oh my goodness. And so a couple hours later, I get a call on the landline, and sure enough, Dennis called and said, have you read the paper today? I said, oh my goodness, Dennis, congratulations. This is incredible. He goes, well, you have an interview this afternoon with Joe Robbie. Joe Robbie owned the Miami Dolphins and 12 soccer teams. And so I barely had a suit that fit at that point. And so I go running down to Bloomington, and my interview consisted of basically one question: would you work for $10,000? And I was thrilled.
Sure.
I was absolutely thrilled. It was my foot in the door into the sports industry. Was on the sales side. I'd never sold anything in my life before. So, and soccer, I grew up in Lake City, Minnesota, which at the time didn't have soccer. So I didn't know a whole lot about it, probably enough to be dangerous. But I quickly realized that, okay, you have to get sales, you have to go talk to people. And I was always inquisitive, naturally, in asking a lot of people, building relationships and rapport. So I basically went out and worked soccer fields every day of that summer. I introduced myself to soccer parents, soccer kids, soccer coaches, soccer administrators. And I realized if I asked the right open-ended questions, people had a lot to say. And so that's how I kind of got my teeth cut in the sports industry, and did that for 1 year, had some success there. Minnesota Timberwolves, actually before the Timberwolves, NBA was coming back to Minnesota. And so I saw a little blurb in the Star Tribune newspaper that said applications are being taken for the next pro basketball team here in Minnesota. So, of course, I had to apply. Went and talked to my mentor, Dennis, and he goes, you have to apply. He says, with this background with selling soccer, you should be a good candidate. Well, relationships again. One of the first people hired for the Timberwolves NBA franchise was a gentleman by the name of Tim Leiweke, who came from soccer.
Okay.
So when my resume, one of 3,000 that were on the floor on a desk somewhere,
1 in 3,000.
yeah, 3,000 people applied for 9 sales jobs. And so I think when it came to my resume, I had a soccer background, I had sold, but I had a basketball background too. So I think my resume probably caught some attention. So I got my first interview and went through the process. I interviewed 3 or 4 or 5 times and was fortunate enough to get in. And here I sit 37 years later.
Wow. And you're the last one standing out of those 36?
Yeah, last one standing, and have been the last one standing for quite some time.
Okay.
So I'm thrilled about that. I feel great about it. It's been an incredible ride. I still am very, very close with all those initial employees that we had way back in the day. But we've had many great staff members and employees come through the doors all those different years. And that's the one thing that I can say. I'm just passionate about what I do. I'm passionate about the job, but passionate about the people I work with too.
And what would you attribute that you're still the one that's, out of all those people, you're still the one that's still there?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think number one, I'm very passionate about the job. And I think most people would say, well, you love it, of course, because you love basketball. I do love basketball. I play basketball. I talk basketball. But what I really love about it is the people. So the fans, the season ticket members, the guests that come through our doors, the staff I get to work with. It's a people business, and I love people. So in all honesty, I don't watch a lot of the game on home nights. During visiting games when we're on the road, I'll watch most of the games there.
Yeah.
But on game nights, we're busy. We're making sure that when we invite people into our house, in a really crowded marketplace with so many things to do here, we want to make sure that it's a great experience. So that experience could be anything that, like I mentioned, where you park, how we communicate to where you park. When you come in through the ramp, what's the next thing you see? How you greet it? Or is it welcoming? Is it fun? We always talk in terms of, okay, if you're going to invite people into your house, how do you want that to look? You want to have bumping tunes. You want to have a clean building. You want to have great food, welcoming. And we're no different in Target Center. So again, in a really crowded marketplace, we think that can kind of stand out for us. And so for me, that's it. I'm just really passionate about the people.
Sure. How would you say your transition from a player to now someone that's kind of the optics of people walking in? Like how, can you share a little bit of that? Like from good player to now you're kind of in the business.
Yeah,
A little
and
carry over there.
it's been so long, since I've actually been a player on the court. I certainly get that, and I got that from a college standpoint. And back then, even there, I was a captain of our basketball team, so there probably was some leadership qualities to that. And so, whether communication to the team, communication through your different leadership, all those things really hang true today. And you have to drive those really tentacles of that experience to make sure that people are having a good time. It's not a cheap product. And so when, again, we're in a really crowded marketplace with so many things to do, unbelievable place to live. You have hockey, you have baseball, you have basketball, you have great theater, you have great arts. We're just one of many things people can choose. So if they choose us, we got to put on a show.
Okay. So do you have employees that work under you now?
So it's really interesting in that we have a small department, but I have dotted line responsibility into 500 people that put on the game for us.
Okay.
So on a Timberwolves night, there's about 500 people that will work on behalf of the 19,000 fans that are inside the building. And so I have tentacles to all those staff members. So we're going to do the training. We're going to do the onboarding. We're going to make sure they have the service principles ready and set to go. And that's just such a fun part for me. It's one of the things that drives the engine for me is that, again, it goes back to people, but we could have the greatest marketing program of all time. You could have the greatest team of all time. If you don't have people to execute what you're trying to do from a service standpoint, it's not going to work, especially in a marketplace like this that has everything.
So do you feel like you're kind of going back to when you were a player, you're on a team. You feel like you're kind of like coaching these group of people now, and
yeah, very much so. And so when you have 500 people that have to execute the service principles that we talk about and train to, I certainly want to lead by example. There's nothing that I feel that's beneath me, whether it's hauling a box or helping clean up a spill. Those are things that just naturally I will do. But also, you're in front of this group to welcome to the season, kick off the season, but then you're constantly working through all the different things and factors that happen on a game night. There's so many transactions that happen on a game night, so many things that can go sideways too. We hope it's just the most incredible experience for every single fan that comes through the door, but things do happen. Somebody spills a drink. Somebody gets a drink spilled on them. They have an unruly fan sitting next to them. They have a hot dog they don't like. Things happen, and so you have to adjust to those. So we're constantly training to go through all those objections, all those things that could happen, and make sure that people are empowered to handle those. But oftentimes you get called in to kind of sort out different issues that happen. And in a weird way, I kind of like that. I kind of look at it as, hey, it's a gift. If somebody's upset about something, whether that's the team, we didn't draft the right player, we didn't run the right play, something happened in the concession stand, whatever it may be, that's a gift where we can solve that, and we probably have an ally for life.
Yeah. You got any funny stories that you can share with the audience of something that happened at a game, whether it was with an employee or a customer coming in to watch the game?
Yeah. I mean, how long do we have? Because there's many.
Let's hear a couple.
Yeah. So one that's kind of funny is, speaking of food, I had a longtime season ticket member that sat in the upper level or 200 level. He texts me and he just says, "Get your butt up here right now."
Okay.
And so I'm like, okay. I said, I'm on the way. As I came around the corner, all of a sudden I see him, and I see a projectile going through the air. He threw a hot dog at me.
Okay.
And he comes running over. He goes, "This is unacceptable. This is unbelievable. You're trying to poison me." He's kind of kidding, but not really. And so I opened up the wrapper, and I realized I think I know what the issue is. And I said, "Can I just ask you what you ordered?" I said, "I'm so sorry that there's something amiss here tonight, and we're going to make it right." But I said, "Do you mind just walk me through what happened here?" So he ordered a hot dog. Well, what he ended up getting was an infused brat. And an infused brat has different coloring, and he thought it was a rotten hot dog.
Oh.
So I just calmly just listened to what he said, and I said, "Hey, thanks for bringing it to our attention. Dinner's on me tonight. We're going to make sure, why don't you go get the rest of your guests with you, and we're going to go, and dinner's on me. We're going to go to whatever stand you want. But I said, in the meantime, just in the future, I said, it looks like either perhaps you did order the brat or you didn't, and they just gave you the wrong one. But this is actually an infused brat. We're not trying to poison you. It's actually quite good. I've tasted it. I've sampled it. It's really good. He felt pretty embarrassed. I said, I'm not saying that to embarrass you. I said, this one's on us tonight. But I said, in the future, just always text me and let me know if there is an issue, and I'll come running. So I did. Another funny one was this is probably 10 years ago. I get a call from our security detail. They say, you got to come to the lobby right away. So I get a lot of different problems and issues that come up. So this one was really interesting because normally I like to know kind of what am I running into so I can kind of process and think through how I might handle it. They said, just get down the lobby. So I come down the lobby and I see 3 of our security detail standing together. And they're like, that's the guy. You go make the call. And I'm like, okay. And so I walked over, introduced myself, and I said, welcome to Target Center. So great to have you here. I understand. Do you have some questions about anything getting in the building? And he says, well, your staff won't let me in. I said, oh, okay. I said, are you having problems with your digital app or your tickets? He goes, no, I have my tickets. He says, you won't let me in because of this. He opens up his coat. He's got about a 10-foot snake wrapped around his stomach.
Oh,
I hate snakes.
I would.
I hate snakes.
Me too.
This thing was like a cable, and I could see it kind of moving, and I'm like, oh my God, it's a snake. And he goes, well, this is an anxiety pet for me. It travels with me everywhere I go. And so immediately I'm trying to think through, like, how are we going to get a snake inside the building? I mean, we've had requests for dogs, and we do have some of our guests that utilize the dog. We've had a baby goat, which is the size of basically a lot of training dogs. We've had requests for birds, never a snake.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there thinking, oh my goodness. Well, I said, let me just back up here. I said, I just got to ask, have you ever brought the snake in other venues? He goes, well, I don't get out much, but he says, I'm a basketball fan, so I thought this would work. And typically you're going to have a card, that shows it is an anxiety pet. He did not have that. And I said, look, I'm so sorry. I said, I'm going to refund you 100% tonight. And I said, unfortunately, we just can't have the snake come in. He goes, it'll stay under my jacket. It'll never come out from my jacket. I said, but if it did, and I have you in section 136 row R, I remember the exact row. I said, if the head of that snake would happen to pop out of your jacket or go down your leg and somebody sees it, we have mass chaos in our building. And I said, unfortunately, we just can't have that.
Yeah.
And so that's how we handled it. And so he understood. Wasn't real pleased, but he understood.
Yeah.
But I just said, look, we're going to refund you. Please come back on us. And I said, in the future, if you do have your card, here's my cell phone number. Let's talk this through if you want to come back to a game. So we're ready for you.
Yeah, you could set them up in a booth or something where no one else was. I
thought about that. I thought about, do we have any empty suites that night? We didn't. So I thought about that as an option. But even there, it's a snake. And this wasn't a gardener snake. This was a 10-foot snake. And I don't like snakes. If I happen to see that inside the building, I'd have a problem with it.
I would freak out too.
Much less some of our fans. So those are two kind of fun stories.
I like it. So talk about the difference between like me coming, like what don't people see that you could share with the audience from you working kind of behind the scenes versus me coming in to watch a game?
Yeah. So there's 500 people, many moving parts that we're getting ready for the game. So typically on a game day, building staff is getting ready all throughout the morning. Concessions are getting delivered. Stanchions are getting set up. You just have all the things that are just kind of from a business protocols that we have a checklist of things you're going through. We have a series of meetings on a game day, just getting ready, make sure everybody knows what the promotions are, anything that's interesting, maybe some highlights to talk to the fans about. And then so for me, starting at about 3 o'clock, every half hour on the hour, we have another shift of staff that come in. So I'm doing every pre-shift meeting. So the pre-shift meetings are things where you have about 10 minutes with each group of about 50 people. And so you're just trying to hype them up for the game. Tonight we got the Oklahoma City Thunder, the NBA champions. Obviously, we had a great rivalry with them started. Here's some things going on with Oklahoma City. Here's some things happening with our team. Here's the promotion tonight. Also, I wanted to recognize a couple staff members that came through on the surveys that had unbelievable service behaviors. I want to highlight those guys here tonight. So it's a little bit of hype, a little bit of information, and just getting the staff ready. because at 5:30 our doors open. We want to make sure everybody's ready to serve. And so what I talked about before, in a really crowded marketplace with a lot of things to do, we're going to lose a fan here and there from a loss, or they're frustrated about something with the team. We can't afford to lose one because attitude of indifference. That one we own. And we always talk about this. I said, look, I don't have to go to our ownership group and say, hey, we need $1 million to treat people nice. That one's free. That's free. And it's free for me. It should be free for the staff.
It's a good quote.
And so it's one where we always talk about tonight is somebody's bucket list, and tonight's somebody's Super Bowl. So when they come through, every person, I always think in terms of this might be their first night here. This might be their only night here. I realize that many people come many nights, but that's the mentality you have to have is let's put on a show for them.
That's a good way to think of it.
Yeah. You could have a family from Sioux Falls, South Dakota that saved up every nickel all year for their one trip to the cities for their family. We got to put on a show and experience for them. So that's the mentality I have, and that's the mentality we try to train to and instill into our staff.
I like that. Yeah, that's a really good one with customer experience. Has there been a change with sporting events? I don't want to focus on COVID, but with crazy TVs and like these sports bars, and is it harder to get people through the door because of all that, like with crazy 65-inch screen TVs?
Sure.
And is it more difficult now than it was, let's just say, 20 years ago?
Yeah, for sure. Back when I started, again, we didn't have computers and cell phones. So that's how old I am. And so now you have so many options. And when you look at a game, oftentimes I'll look around and survey the crowd a little bit. And part of it is driving people to apps and driving people to things that's a second screen. So they might want to look at that highlight. Anthony Edwards came in and dunked on a player. Well, they want to look back at that at TikTok really quick or Instagram, and they'll see that. And so you see heads looking down at their phone
during the game.
During the game, that has changed. Where it used to be pretty locked into what's happening on the floor.
Yeah.
Now it's like, oh, that's awesome. That's awesome play. I mean, look on TikTok. Oh, there it is again. I can see it. So you see that happening a little bit. I think it's one of those things, too, where I look at our two crowds, where our Timberwolves crowd, it's a social event, and people come and they might want to go to their favorite bartender, or they want to run into their favorite staff member, or they want to chat with other guests or other suite members. So it's very social.
Okay.
Where at the tip, oftentimes the building's not quite full because they're just kind of making the rounds.
Got it.
Coming out of halftime, people may not be back in their seat right away because they may be in a lounge. They may be getting some extra food or a drink, whatever it may be, or socializing. Our Lynx fans are completely different. So our Lynx fans do not miss the tip. They do not miss the start of the third quarter.
Really?
So we make some adjustments between the two. So it's drastically different between our fans, and both are great. Both sides of our fans are great. So for us, we're always looking at how else can we make this experience great? Again, what I can own is how I treat people. What our staff can do is they can treat how they can own how they treat people. But we want to have elements for everybody. So if you're bringing your clients, you want to make sure those clients are having a great experience. Perhaps we develop relationships where we know their key clients are coming down on certain nights. Well, we're going to do something special to make them look like the hero. So that season ticket member might say something to the effect of, hey, I'm bringing my top client to the Dallas Mavericks game on Saturday night. Well, we're going to do something for that client to make sure that he's the hero or she's the hero. So that's fun. Next person might be, I'm bringing a bunch of buddies. We're just a bunch of basketball junkies. Well, you kind of park that and think about where's an opportunity to put them in front of a coach. We might have a meet and greet, or we might have an X and O session where we can invite them in and personalize the relationship a little bit and just say, hey, you love basketball. We have a coach speaking before one of the games. Come on in. We're going to have about 30 minutes, and he's going to go through the game plan for tonight. Next one might be their kids. They're all about the mascots. Well, let's make sure that on mascot day, when we have Crunch's birthday party, let's make sure they know the itinerary for all the mascots for the day. So again, it really goes into personalizing the relationship with each fan.
Okay, very nice. So the name of the podcast, as we kind of talked about, is The Chills. So what in your line of work, in your business, gives you those feel-good moments? Hair stands up on the back of your neck or your arm.
Yeah, of course there's the basketball piece of it. You know, Anthony Edwards has a great dunk, or somebody hits a three-pointer to win a game. Those are great moments. For me, it's always the first. I always love everything that's happened for the first time. So first day on the job, first day we play a game, first day we win a game, first day we make the playoffs, first time we advance in the playoffs. Those are always moments that I will always remember that give me chills. Also, the ones that really tug at the heartstrings are people that have a story. So I talked about a lot of people, this is the first time they've ever came to a game, maybe the only time. Well, what can we do to make sure that that experience is incredible? We had a group from France that came over last year, a group of 16 guys that came over from France. So we put them in a bunch of spots where they could have an experience like no other. So we got to have them meet Rudy Gobert. Well, Rudy's from France. That's a big deal. We invited them to sit in a suite with us during the high school state basketball tournament. They'd never seen high school basketball before to that level. We created some opportunities to get them in the building early to get down and take some photos down by the floor. So they all come back. So we just created 16 super fans for that. So it's fun to follow them now on social media just to see all the positivity they have about the organization. And so those are chill moments for us too. Obviously, like I said, the play in the end run, it's about winning games. Of course, we always say when the team wins, the hot dogs taste better and the beer gets colder. There's some truth to that. But also, we have such a role in making that experience great for so many people, and that's where you get those chill moments.
Yeah. Do you feel like a balance between if this is a sporting event, but we don't want to overdo it with all this like entertainment? Like, is there a little balance there that you're playing with?
Yeah, there is a balance, and that's why we survey our fans constantly. After every game, whoever has the tickets of record, they get a push notification. They can fill out a survey. How do we do? 0 to 5. How do we do? And then they can write in comments. From the comments, we segment those into our 7 buckets of fan experience, and so we can look at themes. We can see that okay, all right, the music's really hitting a chord. People seem to like the music that we're playing. Or maybe on the flip side, they're saying, wow, there's never a moment where let the game breathe a little bit, so there's a lot going on, so maybe the traditional fan is just saying, I want to hear the shoe squeak every once in a while. Now our newer fans are just saying, bring it, create action, create noise, and so you're always looking at themes, and then we digest that, and we meet after every homestand and say, okay, the last 4 games, this is what our fans are telling us. So how do we want to adjust? Do we like that data? Do we don't like the data? Again, it's not me saying it. It's not one of the other staff members saying it. It's our fans saying it. So let's follow that lead and just say, let's do more of what they like. Let's do less of what they don't like. And let's try to figure out, sometimes there's some things they don't like that maybe we can't fix right away, but it's something we can park and say, let's work on that for next year. So that's a real key element as well.
Okay. How about for the guy? So for me, I watch UFC, and I'm the guy that says, well, why would I go and spend $2,000 to sit up, way up here when I can see it all from my TV? So what about what do you do for that guy?
It's a great question. And, and one of the things we always talk about, our competition in the marketplace is not only the other teams, Vikings, Twins, United. We work very closely with all those teams, but it is sitting on the couch in front of a big screen TV. Just say, man, I don't have to go out. It's 22 below today.
Sure.
But I think in live sporting events I just think you just can't beat that.
Yeah.
So the trick, of course, is that we want to have the same experience for the person sitting in 227 row W as the person sitting courtside. So what can we do to make that experience better up there in the 200 level for them? So it might be doing more interactions. It might be sending the mascots up to the 200 level a little more often. Maybe sending the dance team up there a little more often. Let's have some spots where it's just special to our 200 level, where you can't get it on the 100 level or the courtside level. You can only get it at the 200 level. So now you feel a little bit more special.
Yeah.
We have a really interesting challenge every night in that Target Center was built in inverse. We have 8,000 seats in the lower level. We have 10,000 seats in the upper level, but we have 1/3 less space in the upper level than we do on the lower level. So 1/3 less bathrooms, 1/3 less concession stands, 1/3 less space. And so when you have 2,000 more people in the upper level, that creates some challenges for us. So what are the things we can do to make that easier and easier for the fan? So we're constantly looking at data, constantly looking at adjustments. In fact, I was just exchanging a couple notes with some of the building staff today. Say, let's go walk the building here next week. let's just make sure, are there any spots that are underutilized or any spots that we can change to make it better flow for the experience? One thing we did last year in our upper level, it sounds really trivial, but we actually put stanchions inside the bathrooms. And so what was happening, we sat outside bathrooms and watched traffic patterns. And it's kind of odd, but at the same point, you see all these people coming in from both sides, and it just was mass chaos. So we said, let's just try it. Let's try to stanchion. Let's try to six bathrooms. Let's try to stanchion and see if we can get everybody coming right and come out left. Sure enough, it worked. And so we're going to buy more stanchions and do more bathrooms this year.
Okay, something that simple.
Something that simple.
Just by a little study. Love it.
Yeah.
Huh.
And we're always doing things like we're taking stopwatches up to concession stands and saying, okay, all right, what's the wait time? If you're 20th in line, what's the wait time at this stand? What's the wait line at this stand? I think people are willing to wait probably 5, maybe 10 minutes to get, a drink or some food, that type of thing. After 10 minutes is probably too long. We want to get them back to the action. So a couple things we did last year to adjust to that is we created beer portables, and we put them in all the entrances, all the what we call our VOMs that get into the actual seats. We put them all around the building. So if you just wanted a drink, that's all you wanted. You didn't need any other food. That's just another option where you can go and get back in and watch the game.
Okay.
So we're constantly studying and adjusting that.
Okay. One last bonus question for you. So you're a basketball player. What's the most athletic feat you've seen live, like out of a player? Any play or a slam dunk or anything like that?
I mean, our guy right now, Anthony Edwards, does some stuff every night where you're like, whoa, I mean, this kid's special.
Yeah.
He's 23 years old, and he's already got, 10 dunks that are probably arguably top 50 dunks of all time in the NBA already. But I also have the benefit of seeing Michael Jordan and seeing Magic Johnson, seeing Larry Bird and all those iconic players from the past.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing about the NBA is I think until you see it live, you don't realize how big, how fast, how strong these guys are. I'll give you a quick story that kind of parallels with this. So when I got done playing college basketball, when I first started working with the Wolves, some of the players would come to town a little bit early, and they wanted to get pickup games going just to kind of get the juices going a little bit. They didn't want to play just anybody because they didn't want to get undercut and have somebody get a little too much attitude, on the court. So they would pinpoint a couple of us up in the office that played college basketball.
Okay.
And so I was asked to go down and play with them over the lunch hour. So first time I went down there, I was like, oh my goodness, this is awesome. This is gonna be great. I was guarding a gentleman by the name of Ty Corbin, who was on our expansion team. He was an All-American from DePaul, 6'7", about 230.
Jeez.
Decent player, not a great player in the NBA, kind of an average pro, average 8 to 10 per game. So I think he's just trying to be nice to me at first, and he left me open for a couple shots, and I hit him.
Yeah.
And he just goes, okay, all right, I got it. You can shoot a little bit. He goes, you're not touching the ball the rest of the day. I did it. I couldn't get a rebound. I certainly couldn't stop him. He just dominated me. So strong, so physical. I couldn't get open. I could not get open. And I was a Division II player. So I was okay, but there's just that level and another level and another level. So to go back to your original question, the feats that you see every night and the way some of these guys jump, run, one of the things that comes up from time to time are people say, they don't play defense in the NBA. And that just tells me they don't watch because you can't get open looks. I mean, guys are so big, so strong. They're just that talented to score at will for the most part. But going back to, was there one moment? There's been some just incredible dunks, incredible shots through the course of time. I've seen, Tony Parker with San Antonio got 55 on us. Just didn't miss a shot. I've seen Kevin Garnett, 37 points, 21 rebounds, 16 assists. I've seen just walking up guys. And so there's almost
There's when you they're that good. You're so good, lot. Yeah, that's so that for sure. One of my favorite. We went to one of the games we went to was they gave up the Nosbury towel.
Oh yeah,
we were there.
You were there for that. Okay.
And one of my favorite parts of the night was we got there early and watched them warm up.
Oh yeah,
that was just because some guys were just nailing the ball and some guys were missing, and it was just kind of fun to see them all get.
Yeah. So what's really funny is guys who put in quotations here. Guys who can't shoot, they can all shoot.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of, so there's the Steph Curry, And then the other guys they just go around, and you probably saw it during warm-ups. Guys who can't shoot will still hit 20 in a row.
Oh, for sure.
Then you see somebody like Reggie Miller or Steph Curry or Anthony Edwards, they don't miss. They just don't miss. And so they're just that much better. And when I hear comments come out of the crowds of so-and-so you're this and so-and-so they're that, they have no idea how good these guys are. But they're huge. They're huge.
Crazy how big they are.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's been a fun ride for me. 37, fun years that the time has just flown by. I'm super passionate about what I do. There's the basketball component, which in the end run, it's that little orange ring that you put a ball into. That's what drives people to your building. But the end run, it's about people. And that's the best part about it.
Yeah. Thanks for coming in. This was Sean.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Good meeting you.
Sounds good. Nice to meet you too. Pleasure.
And that's a wrap, folks. A huge thank you to our incredible guests and, of course, All Weather Roof for making this podcast possible. If you enjoyed these conversations as much as we did, don't forget to hit subscribe and share the chills with your fellow business aficionados. Remember, it's not just about business, it's personal, and it's all about the people. Stay inspired, chase those dreams, and let the chills guide you. Till next time, this is Brent, signing off from the Chills Podcast. Catch you on the flip side.